The Green-Eyed Bandits are from Potomac, and he says stuff that's wildly homophobic. This is Watch What Happens Live with Robin Dixon, Giselle Bryant, and Eminem. Now. Hey everybody, welcome to Watch What Happens Live. I'm your host, Andy Cohen, live from the Bravo Clubhouse on a Monday night. My first guests are two of our favorite women from Potomac. Please welcome Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, Giselle. Word the street is you're going to be pretty shady tonight.
Word on the street, Andy, is you're right.
I'm looking forward to seeing how tonight goes. And Robin, you look beautiful as always. How are the boys and Juan?
Hi, Andy. I'm doing really well, thank you. The kids are great. As for Juan, you're just going to have to wait and see for next season.
Okay, well, our second guest is 8 Mile's longtime resident. Give it up for Eminem. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
Yo, what's good, Andy? It's good to be here, ladies.
Do y'all hear someone talking? I thought I heard a voice.
I didn't hear a voice. Andy, did you hear a voice? I only hear the audience and the air conditioning.
Oh, it's going to be a long night. Anyway, over at the bar is the Marvel expert, the rhyming king, the lover of the House of Mouse, the gritty master, who you can also find on Instagram at the IP Professor. Please welcome Professor T.
Thanks for having me. Excited to discuss some IP issues and keep the drinks flowing.
So I want to get right into it. This was a little shady on our producer's end, though I think it may be a little reasonable. Anyway, Eminem, you recently filed an opposition with the Trademark's Trial and Appeals Board against Giselle and Robin, and their use and pending application of the title Reasonably Shady, their podcast.
Andy, let me interrupt you right there.
Oh, no.
What had happened was...
Well, Giselle and I started our podcast, Reasonably Shady, back in May of 2021. We filed a trademark in Class 41 for entertainment services, namely providing podcasts in the field of dating, relationships, marriage, entrepreneurs, motherhood, style, glam, and current events.
And we also filed in Classes 3, 4, 21, 25, and 28 for makeup, candles, mugs, water bottles, clothing, and paddleboards, respectively, on a 1B intent-to-use basis. Go to reasonablyshady.com to purchase yours today.
Okay, that sounds great. And just to clarify, Professor T, did the ladies file their trademark correctly with the USPTO?
So, Andy, there's a trademark registration process that applicants need to follow in order to have a valid trademark. And after reviewing the ladies' registration paperwork, I'd say the ladies filed their trademark properly.
Who cares if they filed a proper trademark?
Okay, Eminem, please tell us more.
Andy, I've got 4 registrations of famous marks since the year 2000.
You can't self-proclaim your marks as famous. Marks are labeled famous by a court. And anyway, do kids even know who you are? But carry on.
I think a court would agree with me that Slim Shady and Shady are famous. But anyway, I have 4 registrations spanning a variety of goods and services, specifically in Class 41 for entertainment services, namely the presentation of live musical performances by a recording artist. Class 9 for musical sound recordings, Class 25 for clothing, namely shirts, long sleeve shirts, caps, hats, knit hats, and baseball caps. And Class 25 for t-shirts, sweatshirts, shorts, halter tops, and hats.
So, Mr. Mathers, there are 2 grounds for which you have raised the opposing trademark Reasonably Shady. Can you elaborate a little more on this?
Sure, Andy. The first grounds for opposition comes from Section 2D of the Lanham Act, which is also known as a likelihood of confusion claim.
Okay, so Professor T, I know you have some minor experience with trademarks. Can you weigh in a little bit, please?
So, Section 2D of the Lanham Act essentially states that a trademark application will be denied if another trademark registration is already registered for related goods and/or services that is confusingly similar to the applicant's trademark. Essentially, the question is, will registration of the Housewives trademark application for Reasonably Shady confuse consumers with Eminem's registered marks for Shady and Slim Shady? The way the courts would determine this is by looking at 6 factors under Section 1125, which includes registered and unregistered marks. First, the degree of similarity between the marks. Second, the intent of the alleged infringer in adopting its mark. Third, evidence of actual confusion. Fourth, the the relation in use and the manner of marketing between the goods or services marketed by the competing parties. Fifth, the degree of care likely to be exercised by purchasers. And sixth, the strength or weaknesses of the marks.
Okay, so it's time for our first game called Confusing or Amusing. We're going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and you each have time to make your case if this is confusing or not. Housewives, you go first.
Okay, reasonably shady and shady/slim shady are not similar at all. We aren't referring to you when we use the word shady. Shady is a trendy term. You're irrelevant. We started this very popular podcast in 2020 and gave it the title Reasonably Shady because Robin is reasonable and I, Giselle, am shady. No, there is no evidence of actual confusion. Our faces are on the front of our podcast and our website. We are in every merch photo. Our podcast and merch has nothing to do with the use and manner of Eminem's nickname Trademark. We are marketing to a completely different demographic of middle-aged housewives.
Am I a middle-aged housewife?
Might as well be, Andy.
Our consumer base is super fans of the Housewives, and they know what they are getting when they see Reasonably Shady.
All right, well, thank you, ladies. Let's start the clock again, and Eminem, it's your turn.
Well, the marks are similar. Both include the word shady. Who's to say slim and reasonably don't mean a similar thing? I am a bit shady. You totally intended to use my trademark to get views. And we both have trademarks for entertainment purposes and clothing. So we do use the mark in a similar way. And for the record, middle-aged housewives love me. Slim Shady and Shady are well-known marks that represent me, Eminem. The mark is arbitrary. It has nothing to do with my goods. I came up with this name back in the day to represent my brand. Your mark is just suggestive. Mine is stronger.
Okay, well, I think those are all valid arguments. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But let's move on to your second argument, Eminem. What is it?
Well, not only are these ladies trying to confuse consumers, they are impairing the distinctiveness of my famous marks, Shady and Slim Shady, which have been registered since the late 90s.
Okay, well, Professor T, do you mind weighing in again? Give us some light on this shade.
Sure, so dilution by blurring occurs when the distinctiveness of a famous mark is impaired by association with another similar mark or trade name. This typically applies to the owners of famous marks. In determining whether a mark or trade name is likely to cause dilution by blurring, the court will again consider 6 factors. First, the degree of similarity between the mark or trade name and the famous mark. Second, the degree of inherent or acquired distinctiveness of the famous mark. Third, the extent to which the owner of the famous mark is engaging in substantially exclusive use of the mark. Fourth, the degree of recognition of the famous mark. Fifth, whether the user of the mark or trade name intended to create an association with the famous mark. And sixth, any actual association between the mark or trade name and the famous mark.
Okay, well, it's time to play our second game, Dilute or Refute. Let's put 30 more seconds on the clock. Eminem, you'll go first and tell us the trademark dilution by blurring factors.
Well, like I said, Andy, the marks are highly similar. They use the same term, my nickname, Shady. It doesn't matter that you use another term to describe the word shady. You use the major term that I have been using for my brand for years. And they both are used to represent the same kind of brands, entertainment and clothing. Over the years, my mark has acquired distinctiveness. People know my name, my music. They know who I am. I'm the freaky Slim Shady. Everyone knows who I am. I'm Slim Shady. I'm Shady. My mark is highly recognizable. When you hear Slim Shady, we all know who we're talking about. My brand has been around forever and it's worldwide. I'm sure you guys would love to get more clicks by my fans viewing your podcast looking for me.
Okay, well, let's restart the clock, and Housewives, it's your turn.
Get it, Robin.
Okay, so there are tons of other shady variants on the register, coupled with other words or suffixes like exceptionally shady or slam shady. Your use of the mark is in no way substantially exclusive. Even your daughter filed an application for just a little shady without any license that we know of. No one thinks of you when they hear the term shady. Get over yourself. Maybe people think of Eminem when hearing Slim Shady, but you're washed up, and shady is a whole different story today. We obviously didn't have any intention of creating an association with Eminem's marks.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll just have to, again, wait and see what the board thinks to Eminem's opposition. Is it reasonable, or is it truly shady? Anyway, I want to give a thank you to our guests, the Green Eyed Bandits, Giselle and Robin, and Eminem, and of course, the gritty master himself, Professor T. Be sure to tune into the after show right after this. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for coming, and thank you for our viewers for being here tonight.
That was good.
All right, we did.